are found in the MTF editor. Okay. Previously, when we individually created all the files, we knew what all the naming conventions were. Just remember, we don't need to know what that is now. As long as you've got your recalc toolbar open, anytime I click on Edit Data and pick a string that's associated with a function, it'll open up the appropriate MTF editor.
Could you repeat, please? Could you do it again?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'll just remember, look, because on some of your projects it was open, some it's not. If you've accidentally closed that, it's under Utilities. You come down to Recalc, and you see anything that's in those square brackets. If you click on it, it tears off the whole toolbar. So I just keep that permanently sitting down in the bottom corner of my job. If I want to get into the Apply menu, I click on Edit Function. I pick on any string that's been created as part of that function, and it opens up the appropriate Apply menu. Okay, but in this case I want to get into the MTF editor. So under here it's Edit Data. Again, any string that's involved in that function, and Accept, and it opens up the right one. Clear? Right, now there's one glaring difference, that if you had not turned up to any of the lectures and just followed through the notes and the way that the notes are laid out prior to your first assignment, the one big difference to the way I've done it is that I have put the templates in under this templates the templates list. The only reason I do that is because when we use the create rows function, that's where it puts them, and I didn't want to create confusion. Okay, but the modern that's a bit of a throwback to earlier versions of 12D. Now templates are exactly the same as templates are put into the modifiers list the same as everything else. Okay, so let me just, so I don't get ahead of myself. We have a MTF editor, 1, 2, 3, 4 down. I can walk right on modifiers, and in the same way that we use templates, there is a left and right side modifiers. So I can individually modify each side of the road. I can change the crossfall of the road, I can change the width of the road, I can change the distance, if I want to a wider section of channel, and I can overwrite the distance between two links within my template. Okay, you can do whatever you like to this, to your model. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the width of this little side lane, and instead of it being that standard 7 metre carriageway, we're going to drop it down and make it a little one-way lane. And so I'm going to reduce the modifier for the width. Now the first thing you can see when I open up that left modifier is that the create roads function has automatically created the first modifier for me, because the default in the create roads I gave it is different to what my template says. Okay, so it's gone through and it's put my standard template there of 2.7 metres. It's realised that I've got an overwrite in there, and it's created a modifier for me to say that it's that the width is now going to be 3.2 from centre line to liver channel, which makes it nice and easy for me to go and edit the first one, because all I'm going to do is change the values in that one modifier. Okay, if I double click under the type here, this is the modifier itself. Okay, it has the link name. Again, all these things are case sensitive. We have a start and end chainage. We've got different modes for all of these things. You can go from the start of the reference string, as in 0 chainage, right through to the end of it. You can use start of other strings, lowest drop chainage. There's all sorts of different options for where you stop and start these, but the simplest is just to have a type value, which is exactly what we did when we applied the templates last week. At the moment, our start width is 3.2. If we're going to make this, we'll make it, we'll just reduce it to a 6 metre carriage, okay? So what do we do? I'm going to go from 7 metres total to 6 metres. Each side's going to be 3 metres. I'm looking for the distance from my centre line to the first link, same as when we did it last week. In fact, I'll make these even smaller so you can see it's different from the template. 2.2, okay, so we're going to end up with a 5 metre carriageway. And I'm going to click OK. What does it look like here? I'm going to go modifiers right hand side, and I'm going to do the same. I come back to my MTF editor and I'm going to click on Recalc. Okay. So I've now changed the width of my road from 7 metres down to 5. There's a couple of things I now have to do. Obviously the curb returns at each end will need to be redone, and I'll do those in a second, but before we do I'm just going to run one more modifier on this road, and I'm going to change it from a standard crossfall running 3% each way, the same as my template says, and I'm going to put a super elevation on one side, okay? So I'm going to have a single crossfall road. So let me just profile one of these strings so you can see. There is my road as it is now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise the right hand side of the road up. Let me just check which way these that's 40, 45. Okay, so it's numerically increasing this way, so this is the left hand side of the road, this is the right hand side. I'm going to go modifiers right hand side, and under the type I'm going to double click. This brings up the list of the different types of modifiers that I can run. And again, you could I've hardly scratched the surface on these, and I've got roads in some of my designs that have got 30, 40 different modifiers depending on the shape I've wanted, or different crossfalls or transitions, and I've still hardly scratched the surface. So anything that you can think of that you want to modify on these, if you look hard enough and think about it, there's a way to do it. I'm going to go, mine's going to be a fixed crossfall. Fixed crossfall. The decisional modifiers, basically you give it a choice that if it comes across a certain set of circumstances, for instance if it was a batter slope off the side of your road, you say if we're in fill I want you to use this batter slope and search for this surface. If you're in cut there might be a different set of parameters. There are specific things for cut, fill and final. There is no decision making, it's just going to say either no fill or no cut. Okay, so almost all of the ones we're going to use will be under this fixed list. So we've got a fixed crossfall. What's our link name going to be?
Roads. Oh. Yeah.
What link is it going to look for on our template?
Centerline.
No, it's starting at the centre line.
LIC.
It's LOC.
LOC.
Okay. It pays to start thinking about that kind of thing. Think about why we're making a decision. What we're doing is we're going to flip up one side of this road, so we're going to look for the next link from the centre line that it's going to search for, and that's what we're modifying. So I have a lip of channel. Now I'm going to I can leave this running from one end of the road to the other. I don't need to specify an end and start an end point. because it'll only visually appear where my modifier tells it that the template's going to be. Okay, it'll only, so this entire road is going to be single crossfall from start to end, and the crossfall is going to be a positive 3%. So I've clicked OK, OK, and finish. Here we are at the chainage 50. At the moment we have a standard crossfall. I'm going to click recalc. And it now has a super elevation. Does it make sense as to how it's how we've come up with that? All I've done is I've told it that on the right hand side, instead of the standard minus 3% that the template says, it's now positive 3%.
And did you do that for the whole road?
And I've done that for the entire length of that road. But I could have done it for
certain changes.
Yeah. If I was going to transition from, if one of these other roads had a super elevation, I could tell it that over the space of 40 metres that I want to take it from super elevation to standard, so that instead of a sudden change in direction, it'll come up with a nice gentle thing. And that distance will depend on the road and all the conditions around it. You just need to get in and start to play with it and see what looks right and what feels right. But in this case, it's just going to run for the entire length. Okay, there's not too many. I've left. I haven't specified in your assignment whether you go for standard crossfalls or super elevations. So I'll leave that up to what you think is best. But at least I've shown you, and you can, if you need to, you can get in and start to play with these things. Okay, so I'm going to click save and finish. Save. So what I will have to do here is I just need to fix the curb returns at each end, because obviously it doesn't tie in. These are super elevations, so we come in and use our super alignments. Sorry, not super elevations. I'll just make sure the toolbar is open. Turn on my super alignment tools. Okay, it's the same as we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. I'm just going to click edit, pick the super alignment, and it's this 3 in horizontal that I need to fix. So I come up to my part editor, horizontal, just a second. And this is something that is just when we've used the create roads function, it's created an alignment, not a super alignment. Okay, so under our roads toolbar here again, this is the computator curb return that you've just used for your assignment. The next one along is a create roads curb return convert. And all it's going to do is change anything in that roads function. There's only one function in my list. Okay, it's gone and turned them into super alignments so that they're easier for me to edit.
Can you do that again?
Sure can. It's coming up with errors there because I haven't gone and fixed the alignment. Okay, so under the toolbar here, this gives me the option to convert any curb return created in the create roads function into a super alignment. So the second from the right there, it gives you the options of which create roads function that you want to convert. Go to my function list here on the right, roads and process. Most of those are okay. It's just going to come up with a couple of errors where it hasn't managed to fix them. So now I can come down to my super alignment tools and I just need to reduce the offset to 2.2. I'm going to just remember, any time I change something, if I don't click set, it'll just lose it. Set and finish, and it's instantly put it back. You can you can see where it's just shifted it from. All I've done is I've changed the value from 3.2 back to 2.2. If I click on recalc and any string associated with that, it's now fixed. So I'll do the other one slowly. Just obviously it's. Let me know if you can't see this or if I move too fast. Okay. I'll just save that one. So I'm going to click on my Super Alignments Tools editor. This is the one I want to edit. So I'll click on the super alignment. Because we have always done them travelling left, it's the start of this one I'm going to edit. Come up to my parts editor. The offset is currently 3.2 from the centre line. I'm going to make it 2.2 because that's what I changed my road to. I'm going to click set and finish, so I can finish with that. And then all I do is come down here, click recalc, click on any string involved in that function and accept. Oh, it hasn't like that. I've also got to tell it that it's no longer minus 3%. Sorry. Okay, I'll come back to that. What I should have done is done the curb return first, so that it realised that I've changed the super elevation. At the moment, it's saying that it can't do it because there's a difference in level from here to here. So I'm going to have to manually put the vertical geometry on it.
Is there any sort of undo function?
There is.
Yep.
There's undo functions within in the individual super alignment toolbars themselves. There's the quit function, which obviously will undo any editing that I've undertaken within. So that's as if I've never gone in and manipulated that super alignment at all. There is also up the top here, under edit, undo. Now, at the end of last week, I was asked about this. There is a Control Z, which is just a quick undo. It's pretty dangerous in that sometimes, because it doesn't prompt you for what it's going to undo, you can go back and, in fact, last week, the entire file I/O reading in of the information completely disappeared. So use Control Z if you want to, but at least if you use edit undo, it will ask you, are you sure you want to undo that particular thing? Okay, it gives you that prompt, and you're not going to lose information. Once it's undone, there is no redo. All right. Undo change super alignment style, warning, no redo available. So if I'd done a Control Z, then it would have then undone that entire curb return convert that I'd run. Okay, so that's just a 2-second intro into what modifiers do. It's just a nice basic simple one. Is everyone happy that at least if you want to go and change something, that you know where to find it? Okay, it's 7 o'clock now. What I'm going to do is, if we go and take a 10-minute break, I want to spend a decent amount of time running through the network editor, and don't panic. Tonight is just going to be, it might seem a bit of a bombardment because I'm just going to be giving you values basically that we're going to work with. Once we start playing with it next week, it'll become a bit more reinforced. Happy days?
Yep.
Marvellous.
Is this in the second assignment as well?
Yeah, there's not as many points available in the second assignment for the rating because obviously that's already been tested. Yeah, so, and obviously, it's much simpler to do than the first assignment because the first one was longhand.
Didn't even finish.
although some people didn't struggle. After all your stress last